What if you just started with this world of machine learning? How do you get these great internships?
I mean, I don't want to sound like everyone else does, but
Is ChatGPT going to take my job? Instead of it taking me a week to design a website, it's now taking me days. I think it's coming to a point if you're looking to break into machine learning,
yeah.
you can be.
Yeah.
Any tips and tricks for a general consumer who's using GPT-4o, Claude, the other LLMs out there?
GPT came out, I just gave it so much text, and I would expect it to be able to process everything correctly and spew out correct answers. That's not how it works.
Awesome, Sebastian. Nice to meet you, man.
It's nice to meet you, bro.
How's your day going?
It's going well. It was cloudy earlier, but it's nice and sunny now, so I'm always happy when it's sunny outside, you know.
Absolutely. How long have you been in Irvine for?
Irvine, I've been here for a year and a month now. I began my program in 2023.
2023, right?
So
the
a year
fall
ago.
quarter?
Fall quarter 2023, graduating in 2 months.
2 months?
Yes.
This is your last quarter?
Last quarter, man.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
so how does that feel?
It's interesting because I've been in school my whole life, of course.
Yeah.
So preparing for the time where I'm not in school and I have to concentrate on the industry search and prepping for not classes but prepping for actual projects like with companies and everything like that. It's exciting, but also I want to say it's interesting. I'm not really scared, but I feel like as soon as I get to that point, it'll be like, dang, I'm really here now. Like it's not school anymore. It's company work and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, before UCI, you were at UC San Diego.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just to give our viewers some context, Sebastian went to UC San Diego. You did a bachelor's in machine learning and neural computation
Correct.
in UC San Diego. Graduated last year, and then joined our master's program in data science at UC Irvine.
Correct.
Your resume is super cool, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
So you're working at Scale AI, currently still going on.
Correct.
As a Gen AI prompt engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And then before this, Sebastian here had his own startup, Udemy.
Mm-hmm.
So he co-founded that, and you did all the machine learning stuff over there.
Correct. I was the primary AI guy, I like to call it.
So you were the tech guy. Okay,
Yes.
the machine learning, the core. Okay, and then
Yes.
before that, you have also done some data operations work and so many projects, so many
Lot of
NLP
projects.
machine learning projects. I'm assuming some of them are personal, some of them are academic.
Correct. A good mix of both of both class projects, but both just projects I've completed if I'm bored.
Got it.
Create a little
Awesome.
project real quick. It's a cool little hobby. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's start with the most recent one,
Yes.
Scale AI.
Yes.
What does a Gen AI prompt engineer do?
Yeah, so it's a very, very interesting role. It's a role that just came up, I want to say 2023, at the end of 2023, when all these new LLMs were popping up out of nowhere, seemingly. My job primarily consists of being under the hood on training these new artificial intelligence LLM models. So what that consists of is I take actual consumer interactions that played conversationally like with LLMs. And there's a lot of them. I can't really name the exact LLMs, but it's pretty popular ones from some pretty big AI companies. And I essentially analyze these people's interactions that they had on the LLM. I take everything into consideration about their interactions and how they enjoyed the conversation, how they wanted to improve the conversation, and importantly too, I also analyze how the AI creates text and how the AI creates code. If the code it creates is incorrect, I have to go into the training script, adjust its code so it can actually learn how to create code for another person who asks questions in the same type of realm that the other person asked a question in. So it's essentially training these LLMs. It's essentially improving them as well, just to make people more happy if they create a conversation and it's always spewing out correct answers. People are going to be happy. So that's what the role essentially consists of.
So to take a step back,
Yeah.
you said they called you.
Correct.
So you didn't go through any interview process.
I had to go through an interview process after they contacted me to eventually apply.
Got it.
But
So
it
was this like
yeah.
a recruiter that called you?
Yes, essentially, yeah. So they DM'd me on my LinkedIn portfolio. I mean, not portfolio, my profile.
Yeah.
They saw my portfolio on my profile, which I'll talk more about later because portfolios are important to me and how I conduct my interviews and everything like that. And yeah, they scheduled a call to learn a little bit more about me and what I do. And yeah, it was nice to be contacted because I didn't feel like I had to prove as much about who I am. They could already see that I was qualified for the job because of how I optimized my profile. So the interview consisted of the person just going through all of my accomplishments on my public portfolio, just asking me a little bit of questions about that, and the process was really simple. After that, complete the coding interview, complete a small project as well, but
Okay.
but it still felt it felt more, I guess, like safe because I was contacted and I didn't have to go out of my way, apply, get a cover letter
Yeah.
going and everything like that.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it was
So,
very interesting. But that's not how every job I've had has conducted, of course.
yeah.
Every single other one I've had to cold apply with a zero connection
Connections.
after
Yeah.
that. And of course it was harder to get in and
Okay.
everything like that.
Okay, makes sense. So let's
Yeah.
break this down.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's break the interview process because that's very relevant.
Yes.
So it began with a coding interview, right? That was the first thing, or there was a phone screen first.
The first thing was the personality screen to just confirm all of my accomplishments, ensure that I'm qualified for the role.
Got it.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
And this was with a recruiter.
Yes, correct. Recruiter.
20 minutes, probably.
About 20 minutes,
20,
yes.
30 minutes. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Did you do any preparation for this, or you just walked in?
I mean, so in terms of prepping for behavioral interviews, that just comes with practice, man, honestly. Over the past, I want to say 3 years, it just comes with experience to know more about you and know more how to, I guess, advertise who you are, like not only as a coder or as an AI engineer, but also as a person, what your hobbies are and how all of your personal hobbies from the age of maybe even 8 connect everything back to where you eventually are now. That main round that just came with a lot of practice. So I felt really confident in being able to make me seem a little bit more like a person and not just a like tech guy who's just on his computer all day coding and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to connect to a person when you have a personal aspect of you to share to them and to make them remember you essentially past you being an AI guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But then let's break this down for our viewers. How would you go to prepare for these phone screens? Like, what would
Yes.
you do? Because looks like, I mean, you're a veteran. You've done many interviews, so for you, it's a bit natural right now, and you're talking about being authentic in these interviews. But then, if there was any interview prep, like researching the company,
Yeah.
doing mock interviews, tailoring your answers, what would that be?
I always try to learn a little bit about the company before going into those types of behavioral interviews. They aren't eventually gonna want to hire or send or put a person along their interview track if you don't seem interested in their company, right? So I always try to do at least 2 hours of a prep, just understanding the company's point of view on AI trends and trying to find article posts about previous projects these companies have completed, everything like that. And then after conducting that, I always try to find small aspects of my personality to connect back to the projects that these companies have completed. So it could be that a company partnered like with a sports organization for a project in like 2022. I can talk about, hey, I saw this cool project that you guys have completed. I'm actually a huge sports fan myself. I've loved sports since the age of 8.
Yeah.
Like basketball, like is my 100%
Yeah.
top sport out there. Just like trying to find those small aspects of you to connect to the person on the other end, to show that one, you're a cool person, you have hobbies outside of programming and everything like that, but two, you actually like know everything or know a lot about the company that you're interviewing for, and you're confident that your personality and your skills eventually can go together to improve the company as a whole on other projects that they might be completed in the
Absolutely.
upcoming
Okay,
months.
so a lot of so you've done a significant amount
A
of
lot, yeah.
preparation. Okay,
Yeah.
so you dove deeper into the company itself.
Yes.
The recent news, the projects that they have done.
Yeah.
How you fit in with this, and then the sports was your angle over here,
Yeah.
and then just trying to like see how can I kind of sell my background, my expertise,
Personal like story, essentially. Yes.
to scale AI. Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
for sure.
Phone screen passed. How long was it when you got the next steps?
Yeah, it was a pretty quick turnaround. It was about a week and a half. Other interviews, it was more so 2 weeks. Normally the bigger companies give you a little bit more time to prep for these coding interviews.
Week and a half, you got the coding interview. Was this like a classic LeetCode hacker
Yes.
rank? Oh no, okay.
Yes, it was.
Oh no.
Yes. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I'm sure as everyone knows, it just comes with practice, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, in terms of everything that I enjoy about MLAI, I actually don't like the coding part, curiously
Yeah.
enough. I absolutely love the creativity. I love to see like what my code eventually produces and how my project can just turn it into this a huge analysis based off of a couple of computer code lines.
Yeah.
But the actual process of doing algorithm coding questions,
Yeah.
it just comes with
Yeah,
practice,
it's
bro.
just an unnecessary evil. I
Yeah.
mean,
Not every company has had that though, in
Yeah.
my experience at least.
Really?
For an interview, yes.
yeah, I've usually seen pretty much all these big companies do it,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yeah, there was one that was more project based.
Okay.
Which I feel like
Are a bit-
MLAI is more,
It's a better way to
focused on
judge you,
project.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And the actual job, the times you actually have to code in front of another person, it's like really, really rare. I'm sure that you know that all of your work is normally given to you on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Your tech lead tells you, hey, complete this in a week for me. You complete it in a week, and you explain everything that you completed and everything you found. The coding interviews, of course, is like 20 minutes. It's a high pressure
Yeah.
environment and everything like that, and it's normally on a question that you've seen a little bit about before, but like it's normally a new type of question that changes a little bit of the parameters
Yeah.
in the algorithm that they're asking for, whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
Practice,
let's
bro.
so let's dive into that. So
Yes.
that coding challenge that you had, was it what, like an hour probably?
It was more of a medium to a hard. Yeah, it was a mix between a medium and a hard LeetCode
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been preparing for these LeetCode questions?
Since undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Alright.
yeah, like some days, especially with school, it's really hard to get the practice in.
Yeah.
So I normally try to dedicate at least a day every week, maybe an hour or two. Just I want to solve like one hard problem. If I can't do that particular hard problem on that day, I see how it's solved. I try it again in 24 hours to see how much information was in my head from that time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been doing this for a while, the LeetCode grind.
Yeah.
You're doing medium to hard questions. For somebody just starting out, especially for software engineer viewers. Yeah, it's just something you're gonna have to. It's just like taking the SATs.
It's just part of the process.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just part of your like how we did SATs to get into college. You're gonna have to do LeetCode Hacker Rank to get into these big tech jobs at least.
Yeah.
You might be lucky. Some of these companies might say, let's just do a project or let's not do the LeetCode. But especially at big tech, that's most likely not gonna happen.
Most likely, yeah. It's harder to like weed people out through a project.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but always have your hands crossed for a project because that's at least for me. I'm a very creative person. I love to critically analyze things. So if I ever get a project type of prompt as opposed to a coding interview type of t- type of question, I always try to go above and beyond like what that project is actually asking for by like
Yeah.
adding a cool AI algorithm to it to enhance their that overall project as a whole. But yeah,
Okay.
just yeah, the normally it will be the coding interview even for ML and AI roles, especially at those bigger companies.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So for somebody just starting out, what do you think? How do you think they should go around this LeetCode? Because it's just so vast. There's
Yeah.
so many questions you can do.
Yeah.
So what would you say? How should they start? How should they begin? Is there any tools or technologies, any YouTube courses you took, anything else that you did that you think would simplify this LeetCode learning curve needed?
Yeah, so at the beginning of my trek, I'm gonna call it,
Yeah.
I normally just try to find the most commonly asked questions online. The most commonly asked LeetCode questions, excuse me, that were asked at these companies because normally the most common types of questions are online, like people actually have tutorials of going through them and how to piece together the overall answer or the overall parameters of that question in order to eventually end up having the correct answer.
Yeah.
So that's where I would start. I would begin at the easier problems, begin at problems that are commonly asked online and that have tutorials online for. And there's a lot of tools out there now, even if the online tutorials can't help you to actually piece together those types of questions and kind of bridge the way to a problem solve because as soon as you see like 100 plus of these types of questions, it becomes a lot easier to piece together how to correctly like solve them. It's just practice. It's like anything. It's like car driving.
Yeah.
It's like just practice, practice, practice. Try to find other people who complete these questions.
Yeah.
Try to take advice from them eventually, and eventually you'll be able to get to that type of level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, great advice you've said is essentially start with the easy.
Yes.
Like don't go into hard.
You're gonna want to
immediately.
quit your
your
program, bro.
software. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So start with easy. Start with LeetCode easy. Try to solve them by yourselves. If you
Yeah.
can't, try looking them up. There's so many videos, tutorials out there, and then take it a step by step. But I think what you have said is it's about consistency. You
Yeah.
have to like you were saying you were dedicating 1 hour every single day almost just to do LeetCode. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's just a routine. It just became a hobby because you can't predict what questions are gonna come. So you're just gonna have to know all the concepts. But what I've heard is people, they do LeetCode to a point where you start seeing some commonality.
Correct.
Like in their head, they're like, oh, I can do dynamic programming for this, or oh, I can solve this with graphs. Like
Yeah.
you start getting these patterns in your head. You're like,
Correct,
oh,
yeah.
this is a DP question.
Yeah, and as soon as those patterns start to come about, a lot of these companies, if you don't get the correct answer, like 100% correct, but you're able to explain how you came up to your answer and explain the techniques that you were able to essentially put together to create your answer, they care about that too. They care about that you understand how to problem solve. I think that's the main point of these interviews. It's like not to to test you on if you can get this a question 100% correct. Of course, that helps. I mean,
Yeah.
if you answer your
Yeah.
your programming interview with 100% accuracy, then you're awesome. But if you can explain your process of coming up to that answer,
Yeah.
it can potentially increase your chances of having a callback in case you couldn't answer it 100% correctly to the point where the interviewer would think that it would be a correct answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so going back to your interview process.
Yeah.
After this coding challenge, what was the next steps, and
Yeah.
when did you hear that next steps?
Yeah, coding challenge ended. The next steps was about 3 days after that.
Okay. Kind of fast.
It was a quicker turnaround. And that was the interview with an AI head over there, like their project head who essentially assigns projects to a lot of people on this company. And that was just again a little bit of a behavioral type of interview because you were talking directly with the person that would essentially be putting you on these projects that I was talking about earlier. So again had to prove that you're a person again. So it was sort of another behavioral type of interview. I wouldn't really call it technical because it didn't really have any of those coding type of questions. It was more so tell us about you, tell us about how you think your AI and ML skills can help us out on the projects that
Yeah.
we have here. And yeah, so that interview it felt a little bit of a higher pressure because I knew that after this it was done. Like if I passed this, like I'm pretty much in.
Okay, this was the last round.
The last round, yes, correct.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
so yeah, it was another like 20-minute conversation just about me, my skills, everything like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
And then after that, the turnaround to actually having the offer, it was about 2 days.
Okay.
So the entire process, 2 weeks maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think was the reason why they reached out to you in the first place? Or why do you think they even hired you? What struck
Yeah.
out? Was it your very strong academic background? Was it the fact that you started your own startup? Because
Yeah.
I've seen Scale AI, they often reach out to people who have started their startups and were like, leading the tech over there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think was it? What are your interview process in general?
Yeah. I think it was a combination of everything. One, it's the way that I advertise who I am out there. Like, if you go on my portfolio or on my LinkedIn profile, I have aspects like trying to understand the people side of artificial intelligence
Yeah.
and how at the core AI is essentially trying to replicate how people think. So I advertise that I have that type of point of view on a AI, and I'm not only in the AI space because of coding or because of the cash flow at the end of the day. So I think having that out there, just having your personality on a portfolio or on a personal profile, I think that really helped. And then of course my experience and my education helped. They probably wouldn't have reached out to me if it was my like first big AI role.
Yeah.
They probably preferred to see that I had at least a little bit of experience as an ML lead.
Yeah.
And again, because of how the actual job is more project oriented, they probably enjoyed to see how I did co-found a company, so I can be that type of person to lead at the end of the day and take that top head
Yeah.
type of a role on any type of project that I get assigned to. I think all of those things ended up helping me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've noticed this too. I think a great way to stand out as a software engineer is have a portfolio or build in
Correct.
public. It's
Yes.
always a great thing, like not just a secret GitHub account,
Yeah.
like actually
Actually
build it.
create
Yeah,
articles and publish
exactly,
articles about
exactly,
your projects
exactly.
you've completed.
And the
Yeah.
fact that you had a startup makes you obviously very public. I'm sure
Yes.
you had to push it out. You probably were doing some level of marketing sales with that.
Yes.
So it was very clearly open. And I think that's a great thing because there's
Mm-hmm.
just so many software engineers. And a way you can stick out is build in public. If you don't have experience, just take a passion project, side project, and then
Yeah.
just build it in public so
Exactly,
that
yeah.
somebody can see you. That's how I got into Tesla. I
Exactly,
built
yeah.
intern guys in public,
That
and
makes
then
sense, yeah.
Tesla reached out to me, and that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
Cool. But let's flip the coin a bit.
Yeah.
You had great experience.
Mm-hmm.
So they reached out to you. Awesome. What if you just started with this world of machine learning? You're like a college junior, sophomore,
I've
freshman.
been there. Yeah, I've been there, yeah.
So in that case, how do you get these great internships or experiences?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like everyone else does, but apply.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I did to eventually get the sport radar role that I ended up having for 2 years as an analyst there.
Yeah.
It was really just it was applying and at that point in time when you don't have a lot to put on the resume, you can just put a ton of passion projects on there. That's what I did. My entire page 2 was just passion projects.
Yeah.
And because I was more so applying to analyst roles and not really ML AI type of roles yet.
Yeah.
I made sure to include all of my analyst projects where I took like player MBA stats, and I was able to analyze trends in a performance, those types of projects. So at that early point in a time, I would definitely say one, to pay attention to your classes.
Yeah.
Because at that point in a time, that's really your job, is to pass all of your classes, actually take experiences away on those classes and the type of content that you're being taught in those classes, and then just do passion projects. A lot of the practical classes I took were project based. I'm sure that a lot of other engineering schools or engineering programs have project type classes too, where at the end of the term it's a personal project. You have like 2.5 to 3 weeks to concentrate on that project.
Yeah.
And you can, one, create a project for an awesome grade in your class, but two, another thing to put on your other resume at that point in time. So high emphasis on projects when you don't have experience yet, and then applying to almost every role that you're just a tiny bit interested in, because you don't know if a person is going to be interested in you if you don't apply. And nowadays it's pretty easy to apply to 100 jobs in a span of a week, just doing easy apply.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it looks like the main feedback here was one, apply.
Yeah.
You just have to apply. Like you
Yeah.
can't just have applied to 20 positions in the last 6 months and expect to get any callbacks.
Yeah.
100%, you just start by applying. The second thing is, looks like if you don't have experience, build that experience.
Exactly.
And the best part about software engineering, machine learning, data science is you can, one, do academic projects. So Sebastian was actually paying attention in classes, and he was putting the projects that his professors gave him on his resume as official projects and making it very technical. And then the second thing is do these passion projects. So that's the thing. If you're a software engineer and you have an empty resume, that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Anyone
you
can create a project.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like you can just make your own experience.
Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
And the cool thing is you can make those projects about anything.
Yeah.
If you're interested in cars, you can do an MLAI analysis on car buying.
Yeah.
If you're interested in computers and in tech, you can make projects about that. If you're interested in a sports, tons of projects about that too.
Yeah.
And that can one build your experience, but it can also like make it more fun.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this search, it should be about your passions, and
Yeah.
if you do projects about your passions, you're actually excited to complete those projects, and it's more so in enjoyment as opposed to I have to do a project today. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a bit different question for you, Sebastian.
Yeah.
I mean, the most famous question out there for anybody that's already in a job or is looking for a software engineering job is ChatGPT going to take my job? Because it's becoming very easy now, especially since I am in full stack software engineering. Claude GPT 4.0, it just has made the software development process so much easier.
I love Claude.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? Instead of it taking me a week to design a website, it's now taking me days. If I really want it, I'm sure we can get it in hours. And then there's other tools like Replit and these integrations. The GitHub has its own tools as well. So my question essentially is,
Yeah.
now instead of hiring 5 engineers, it's becoming, let's just hire 2 engineers, but let's give them Claude. What do you think? What do you
Yeah.
think about our future for software engineering? Do you
Yeah.
think there's going to be way lesser jobs?
I don't think it's going to take jobs, to be honest with you. You can tell just now when you use GPT 4.0 to program a project on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say hypothetically on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you go back, that say another like week after your project, and you try to continue coding on that project, you can tell that GPT is a little bit more dumb. It's really interesting how OpenAI kind of adjusts the intelligence of its LLM, where certain days it's like, dang, like I don't need to actually code anymore, but other days it's like, this code has a ton of bugs in it, and I tell it that it has these bugs, but it still can't actually tell that it has bugs in it, and it keeps on spewing out terrible code. So I think right now, I don't think it's at that point where it can just take over an entire ML AI engineer. And a little bit building off of that point is it still can't problem solve like people can. As they try to improve it on its cognitive aspects, it's improving a little bit better, I want to say. But at the end of the day, you can't just insert an entire 20-page requirement from your boss, and expect Claude or GPT to be able to process every single point that your boss like wants in that particular program, and spew out good code. Now it's an excellent tool to actually get you going. Like, hey, I'm designing this big ML agent for a chatbot at my company. How can I begin on this? And how can you provide code that it will just improve my overall process of coding this big project and putting in the points that you particularly can't code on behalf of me. Excellent tool to give you that sort of framework in order to build off of. But in terms of like just doing my entire job, I don't think GPT can train itself.
Yeah.
Just like talking about my current role.
I totally get you, but do you think now there's going to be lesser machine learning engineers needed since many startups, their machine learning is GPT-4o, Claude,
Yeah.
LLMs. They're just using it. They're doing their own in-house fine tuning.
Yeah.
So essentially, there's a lack for hiring a software engineer, machine learning engineer,
Yeah.
dedicated for this.
Yeah.
Do you think that statement is true?
I think it's partially true. I think a lot of tasks that you need an ML AI engineer to complete, they can be automated, but at the end of the day too, you need a person who knows how to actually prompt these AI models and knows how to actually talk to them in a
Yeah.
correct manner and know how to engineer your program and their APIs that connect their big LLMs to consumers. You still need a person who understands those types of ins and outs. So while there might not be as many like I guess entry level ML AI type of analysis roles because these LLMs can do part of that for you. Companies are going to need ML AI people on a team that actually understands
Exactly
how
right.
to code like with these things, right? They aren't gonna want to have their HR person have to deal with
Yeah.
programming on an LLM by typing a prompt into it. You have to know how to correctly use it at the end of the day. So
I think it's coming to a point if you're looking to break into machine learning,
yeah.
you can't be a generalist anymore. You can't just have the basic information. You kind of have to be a specialist, looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where your job comes in because we need machine learning specialists, but not these generic software engineers who can just do a bit of everything, but that's not going to work now
Yeah.
because we have those LLMs who can do a bit of everything.
Yes.
Since you're in prompt engineering,
Yeah.
any tips and tricks for a general consumer who's using GPT-4o, Claude, the other LLMs out there to get better results? What are some tips and tricks in the to actually prompt
Yeah. Yeah.
the questions itself?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were comparable to a me when GPT came out. I just gave it so much text.
Yeah.
I gave it so much information. At times I just inserted in an entire assignment into it with like question A, B, C, and
No.
D,
Yeah.
and I would expect it to be able to process everything correctly and spew out correct answers.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. So I would definitely say to split up information.
Yeah.
Don't try to give it everything that you have to give it in a certain task on your first turn. And context is really important too. You can't just expect it to give you a correct answer when you don't provide the context that you need this problem to be solved in. So I normally try to build prompts that people normally complain about or prompts that the AI can't really perform correctly on. Give it a paragraph of a context first. Hi, I'm an ML engineer at a company A. I'm trying to complete this pipeline to connect to our chatbot.
Yeah.
It 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 needs to have constraint A, B, and C.
Yeah.
I always make sure to include that context paragraph at the start, and then if I do end up providing a lot of information to it to the point where I feel like it might get overwhelmed, I try to put it in bullet points too.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so if I'm expecting to provide an entire pipeline of tasks, I say please complete these tasks in a order from A to E, and then I have A dot and then list like what I want A to be completed. B the same thing.
Yeah.
All the way down to however many constraints I need. So I think that helps these LLMs process information a lot more and are able to think. And I think just viewing it as a person and not as a computer helps too. Like if I was talking to a you and I said, here's a whole 20-page project, complete it for me in 10 seconds, you'd be like what the hell is going on right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
but
Just treat it like a person.
treat it
Yeah.
like a person, exactly. So give it information, kind of like how you'd email any person.
Yeah.
Have your little intro paragraph, have information in a easy to follow type of a manner, and so just processing information. That's at the end of the day. That's what
Awesome,
it is.
awesome, Sebastian. That's great advice. What's next for you, man?
What's next?
What are you doing after college?
I'm graduating in 2 months. I'm going to continue to a work at the current company that I'm at now.
Yeah.
But still keeping my options open. The goal, of course, as with any other guy, is to end up in the big tech space, to be able to have that career that you want to eventually have, right?
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome,
So
man.
yeah, keeping my portfolio updated. Always open to new projects, new partnerships, new opportunities, but continuing to do the work that has pushed me towards the point that I'm currently at right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's end this with a great advice for our viewers.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get into machine learning, trying to get into data science,
Mm-hmm.
AI, this world.
Mm.
What's one short advice you would give them?
One short advice. That's a good one. Pick your niche. ML, AI, such a big space.
Yeah.
The data science world is a huge space.
Yeah.
If people just say that they want to get into this huge space, what space are you going to get into? Are you going to be more interested in the analysis type of jobs out there? Are you going to be more interested in a pipeline API engineering?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be just interested in helping ML optimization type of opportunities at companies that need ML ops? I would choose your niche inside of this big space, and it's perfectly okay to have 2 or 3, I guess, passions inside of the cloud.
Yeah.
But know what you want to get into inside of this big umbrella. So it's one, easier to create those passion projects I was telling you about earlier, but 2, it's also a lot easier to find those opportunities out there that are under those I guess smaller entities of that big cloud. So yeah, pick your niche.
Awesome. Awesome. Great advice, Sebastian.
Yeah.
Be a specialist.
Be a specialist.
Yeah.
Not a
don't
generalist.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah.
Figure out your niche. All right, man. Thank
Yeah.
you so
All right,
much,
bro.
Sebastian.
It was great to have you.
This
Thank you,
is
man.
a great podcast.